Good afternoon everyone. Today we are start with day 11 ReactJS. In this lecture we are going to learn about conditional rendering in React. Okay, let's start with documentation. What is conditional rendering? Your component will often need to display different things depend on different condition. Okay, in React, you can conditionally render JSX using JavaScript like if statement, ampersand, and ternary operators. Okay, whether we are using if statement, and operator, or ternary operators for JSX rendering. Okay, how to return different JSX depend on condition. How to conditionally include or exclude a piece of JSX. Common conditional statement shortcuts you will encounter in React code base. Conditionally returning JSX. Okay, this is just similar to as you return or as you using the if else statement. Like there is an example of list where their unordered list is created here and you are required to add the list item from here. For that we are using the component item, okay, and we are sending as a props true, which is included in the list or completed item, and send false for uncompleted item. We are having a task to apply to add this check mark after the name of the item, just like this. For using this, we can use the simple condition like if is packed, then return this, otherwise this. In this we have this tick mark, in this we don't have tick mark, just simple conditional. Try editing what gets returned in either case, see how result changes. For this we can try, let's modify this. Like if here we using the if else statement or just say if statement, we can also use the ternary operator. So let me copy this text and return it like this. Return is packed. We can return this until, or we can return simply this. Okay, it's quite simple. It's it works similar to if else, but it's has a good visualization and making it clear code. Okay, notice notice how you are creating branching logic with JavaScript. If and return statement in React control flow like conditional is handled by JavaScript. Okay, in the React we can control the flow of component using the condition in handle the JavaScript. Conditionally returning nothing with null. Like if you don't want to return anything, if the condition is true, you can just return null. Let's see the example here. In some situation, you won't want to render anything at all. For example, say you don't want to show packed item at all, a component must return something. In this case, you can return null. So let's see here. In this example, if the condition is true, we are going to return null, else we are going to return the element list item. So let's see what is here. If we see inside the unordered list component, when the items are called up, the last item, whose name photos of Tam, is tagged as false. Okay, so it's a situation like a person is going to somewhere and having a list of items which are tagged or not tagged, and there is a list of photos of Tam which is not tagged, and the is tagged is equals to false as a boolean statement and sending it as a props. When the props is here, if the packet is tagged, it's return null. It means no elements will going to showing in this and this. And in the case of false, it will going to show the name of the item like this photo of Tam. Moving forward, in practice, returning null from component isn't common because it might surprise a developer trying to render it. More often, you would conditionally include or exclude the component in the parent component's JSX. Here's how do that. Okay, if like in the component, we are not going to show all the child component in the parent component, because sometimes it's going to confuse the developer and the user that using that. Like in this case, there is a multiple items, okay, and items that ending with green tick that shows that this item is packed, and the items that are not ending with the green tick that shows the item is not packed. But some of the time, the user though using this application may get confusing or taking time to recognizing which item is checked or not checked. Like I have, it's just a three elements and you are able to read it out. What if there is 100 of elements and you want to see only the items that are not packed? At that time, this situation is not be time. This situation be not save our time. That's losing a lot of time. In this case, the situation is changed. The user will get only the item which are not packed. And that's why this statements like you would conditionally include or exclude the component in parent component. Okay, whether you want to include the item or not include, or exclude or include. All right, conditionally indexing JSX. What is this? In the previous example, you controlled which, if any, JSX tree would be returned by components. You may already have noticed some duplication in the render output. It's very similar to like this. This element is very similar to this. We just copied the both, and both the items are similar. Both the condition branches return this item is packed like this or this. While this duplication isn't harmful, while this duplication is not harmful, it could make your code harder to maintain. Like you're required to change multiple things. Like if I want to change the condition from only one item should be displayed which are not packed. At that time, you're required to change this full line of code, and you are required to change this condition and returning the null. At the time, the maintenance is lot. Maintenance timing going to be a lot. At that time, the system may got a lot of time for maintenance. In that case, we are not using this, or we can try something else. Let's see. What if you want to change the class name? What if you want to change the class name? Like if you want to change the class name every time you're going to each element and changing the class name, like it's become header or copy paste, copy paste. It's become it's consuming lots of time. You would have to do in two places in your code. In this case, I have only two places. In the 1000 line of code of different components and their different workflow, at the time that's become so hectic. In such a situation, you could conditionally include a little GSX to make your code more dry. Actually, what is dry? Let's see. Dry is a don't repeat yourself. Like you're not going to repeat one thing more than once. Like when you are using the class name and sending it as the uh, parameter or anything else, like you can use the conditional ways. Like let's see, conditional ternary operator. Actually, we did in the first example when we can do with this too. JavaScript has compact syntax for writing conditional expression. The conditional operator or ternary operator. Instead of doing this, we can do this. But there is some logic. Okay? At the time when I need to change the class name, I am not required to change the class name for the both the elements or called list item. In this case, I require to change the class name only for this and not, and it's worked as similar as that. We're just using is packed question mark, the name, then sorry, adding the element that we want to add with, and the ending with this name. Hope you understand this code very clearly. Okay, when the condition is true, it's called name plus tick, and when the condition is false, it's called just name, and all the things are similar. You can add if is packed is true, then render the list, and otherwise same that item. Are these two examples fully equivalent? No, but the output is similar, but the number of line is different. Let's see how is this. You are coming from object oriented programming background, okay, where classes and all these things matter. You might assume that the two examples both are still different because one of them may create two different instances of list item, but GSX element aren't instance because they don't hold any internal state and aren't real DOM nodes, are not a real DOM nodes. Okay, actually GSX is not creating the real DOM. That's replicating the real DOM and creating a virtual DOM for the React. And here what happening when this condition is called up, it's not a real DOM. It's a replica of real DOM. When the system is compiled for the JavaScript, this is converted to real DOM at that time and then render on the website. Okay, it's not it's not a final output for our application. It's just a replication of our output and making it quite similar to that and adding multi-level conditions so the interactivity becomes more advanced. Okay, because they don't hold any internal state or are not really DOM nodes. They are lightweight description like blueprints or replica. So these two examples in fact are completely equivalent. Previewing and resetting state goes into detail about this work, like pre like this is our advanced topic for us right now. We will work for this in upcoming lectures. Okay, so we know it very well. Both the things are same. Actually, this example tries to say like both the both are equivalent or not, like this one or this one. Actually, this example is creating the list item as actual the DOM needs, but here the name that is coming from the props, that's not really it's not going to print the curly bracket name and curly bracket on the screen. That's what's going to printing on the screen. That's printing the name that is coming from the props. Okay, and this creating a replica of a real DOM, document object model. And when the this form is rendered on the JavaScript v8 engine, and that time browser v8 engine, that time it's converting into the real DOM, and at that time this name become any item, it can be like photo of Tom, or anything else that's coming from the props. Okay, actually we are using JavaScript as a programming language. Inside the JavaScript, we are using the HTML to creating our own DOM elements in different in advanced uh, programming techniques and multiple programming principles inside the inside the JavaScript to making it more interactivity. So you can understand how things are going here and how the virtual DOM is creating by the React, and or called a replica or called blueprint of the virtual DOM from the real DOM of a website. So things is going very well right now. After that, now let's say you want to wrap the complete item text into the another HTML tag like del. Del is called deleting item. To strike it out, you can add even more new line parentheses so that it easier to nest more JSX in the case. Like the item that are clear, I want to adding the strike from the between the line. For that, how things going to work? When the item is true, okay. When the item is true, and I'm going to creating the same thing with the name. I'm just changing the name, and things are going same. if I want to change this full thing, what I'm going to do, or to making this more clear for you, like we are just adding the new tag at the place of the thing. We are also going to adding this full element inside the parenthesis. Without parenthesis, it's not going to work for. Okay, actually we are adding the new element tag del and creating the strike inside there. Okay, that's pretty easier. Okay, so this style work well for simple condition, but use it in moder moderation. But use it in moderation. If your components get messy with too much nested conditional markup, consider extracting children component to clean things up. In React, markup is a part of your code, so you can use tools like variables and function to tidy with complex expression. Let me tell you what they're trying to say. Like we are creating the new element inside the condition. At this place, I can create one more variable to storing all the things, like array of things, and just like we have already did, and we can work with that. Okay, to making things easier, or you can also create one component here, like inside the component, like a del component. Okay, for the del only, to creating things easier, or anything else. Okay, logical and percent operator. Another common shortcut you can encounter in JavaScript and percent operator. Inside React component, it often comes up when you want to render some JSX when the condition is true, or render nothing otherwise it. With %, you could conditionally render the checkmark only if passed. Okay, when both the things is true, we can pass, otherwise false. Like the same thing, same purpose is going to happen, like when the condition, we're going to send the name, but we are going to add this true, like it is always be true. It's like if there is something that means it's true, it's there is a null. Undefined, that's become false. Okay, I think undefined is true or false in JavaScript. Like sometimes happen when the output is undefined, that's consider it as a true or false. That's a question. Let me ask you, ChatGPT. Does defined and null consider it as a false? In JavaScript, both undefined and null consider as false value, which means the equivalent to false. Okay, both the things are false, not considering it as a true. So well, whenever the thing is true, false, or undefined, or null, that's become or zero, it's become false. Okay, but in this is packed is true. If the is packed is true, then the value will be true. If it's not going to check in the second condition right now. When in and, if the first condition is true, it's going to check the second condition. If the first condition is false, it's not going to check the second condition. That's it. Okay. You can read this if is packed is done. We know how it's working right now. Okay, it's going to add this when the condition is true, otherwise not. Okay, like it's going to add in this if the condition is true. And person returns the value of the right side. Okay, and person JavaScript expression. Okay, logical and operator of the set of boolean operands will true if both the things are true and the one is false. Okay, what's going to do? Return the value that its right side, or in other case the check mark. If the left side condition is true, okay, if the condition is false, the whole expression become false. React consider false in the whole, and JSX tree just like null or undefined, and does not render anything in its place. Okay, what is the pitfall for this? Don't put number in the left side of AND operator. Okay, just I called off, like if you put the number in the left side, it's always become true or always become false if you use 0 or 1. Okay, to test the condition, the JavaScript converts the left side into boolean automatically. However, if the left side is 0, then the whole expression gets value 0. The React will happily render 0 rather than nothing. Okay, for example, a common mistake is to write code like a message count and print the message like this. It's easy to assume that it's render nothing when message count is 0, but it's really render 0 itself. To fix it, make the left side a boolean. Okay, and print this message. Okay, let's check it out. Does it work similar as I think? Let me copy this statement. Okay, and I want to play with this, like if my condition is true or false at that time, what we're going to do. Mm, is packed, and this, oh, that's working, and if is packed, if the is packed is not, and at that time I'm not going to use this. Oh, that's it. That's working, but I would just want to check that's working for this or not. and if I put this as 1, if I put the integer value like 1, it's become true, and if this item become true, it's going to send all the same item for the both. In that case, I require to render this list item here, and things become quite similar. Okay, if I put it like 0, it's it's giving the same error that I have seen here. Like if I directly put the 0, it's happily render 0 rather than nothing. Okay, that's why 0 is not worked here. Okay, so for that reason we are going to use the condition here, and creating it as a conditional in a boolean form, or we call boolean. Actually, I'm taking using my extra brain right now, not use that. Okay, is packed. Okay, and in this case everything is going very well. Okay, okay, why this error is packed? Okay, it's returning. Why, but why this not working? Oh, that's worked. Well, there is not a connectivity with this server of Sandbox. That's why it's getting an error. All right. So moving forward, okay, conditionally assigning GSX to a variable. Now we are using the name inside the variable and sending that name to something else and creating new recipe. Okay, when these shortcuts get in the way of writing plain code, try using if statement and variable. You can reassign variable defined with let. So start by providing default content you want to display the name. Okay, we are going to creating our default content here. Like we create the item content like name, and if statement reassign to JSX expression to item if is packed is true. Okay, when the item is packed, item content equals to name plus this. Okay, and curly braces is the open window into JavaScript. Embed the variable with curly braces and return GSX tray, nesting the previous calculated expression inside the GSX. Alright, that's quite simple. Okay, like we have been used this earlier. This style is most verbose, but it also the most flexible here action, like all right, number of line of code become more. Actually this actually we are using the same example so we can understand the thing how we can uh, use the conditional rendering in React in more complex way or in a more different ways. It's not about to it's not just about the number of line of code, it's about to in which situation you can use that or not. Just like here that was a pitfall, like you can't use 0 so that that's so that we recover from error. Okay, that's just rendering the 000. Actually why this happened behind the scene, actually what happened when we are using the 0, it consider it as a number or an integer number, and that's why it's considered as a true. And it's what in some of the cases the 0 is considered as a false too, and that's why there may be a confusion between that and me causing the error. What I did explain. Whole expression gets 0, react with nothing. Let me copy this and ask to chat why this only give ans why this only return 000. Let's see what the behavior happened because JavaScript encounters 0, the result expression in the React. It treats 0 as a valid value. Okay, it's just like a valid value. Just I have told you, like JavaScript things like it's a number in the type is number. That's why it's considering it as a number and not a boolean value and all the things of it. That may be a reason. And rendering all the and render it directly if you instead to render nothing like empty string you got 0. Okay. Yes, one more thing, whenever the output, whenever the uh, first, whenever the condition is any of the condition is false, the whole the things is false. It means that you are not going to render anything else. So in that way only, in that way too, like when the first condition is true, the second condition going to returning it out, and if the and when the first condition is false, it means that we are not going to render anything. That's why it's showing 000. Yeah, that may be reason for this. Okay, moving forward. Okay, this is what, and let's see, item is equals name and fact. We just put the item in. We just put the name inside the item, and if the item is packed, then we add the add the it's just a string concatenation. Okay, we just concatenate the name with the string and and put inside the item content, and just it is a way how you can explore. Okay, look, before this work not only for the text but attributes in JSX too. Okay, like how, the item, if it's packed, if the item is packed. Okay, it's not just working with text with arbitrary too. Arbitrary. It's attribute. It's arbitrary. It's like arbitrary GSX. We can also add the GSX inside the variable. Like we create something new recipe. Like we are not just adding this statement with the concatenation. We can also store inside the item content with the elements of GSX. Pretty good and interesting. Like we just edit here, and when the things is true or false, that's what. When the item is false, okay. We are just exploring. We are just peeling out the conditional rendering with the new exploration, like how we can also work with that. All right. Now, if you are not familiar with JavaScript, this variety of style might seem overwhelming at first. However, learning them will help you read and write JavaScript code, and not just a React component. Pick the one you prefer for a start. Okay, and consult the reference again if you forget how to other ones work. Okay, if you really want to remember the things, you can go through this website, react.dev, learning the conditional rendering, and you will find the whole documentation here. Okay, so guys, moving forward, and there is some challenges, and I like before the challenges, we are going to recap the things what we have just learned. In React, you control the branches logic with JavaScript. Okay, you can return JSX expression conditionally when with an if statement. You can conditionally save some JSX into a variable and storing into variable and include inside the JSX using the curly braces, and in JSX condition like this, like with the condition, and adding the first element and adding the second element. It means like if condition render A otherwise B, it can be render A element or render B element. Okay, in JSX condition A, when the condition first is true, it means that it's going to render the element that is in the right hand side. Okay, it's going to render the element. If it's false, it's not going to touch the right side or portion of the element of any code. Like means if condition render A, otherwise nothing. Okay, it's going to render it or not. If you put the 0 at that time, it's pretty sure that it's not going to render. Actually, there's happening, like we just discussed about it, like what was the inside the code. Okay, the shortcuts are common, but you don't have to use them if you prefer plain if. Okay, it's not like the things is like you need to learn the programming and coding for your interest and for your comfort. It's not like you have to doing the same thing in a different way and making yourself in difficult situation and getting in the errors. No, dear, you have to just follow the path that's make you feel better. If you want to make things more stylish, you can try multiple options that we have just discussed. Okay, so let's start with the challenges of the day. In the first challenge, we are going to show an icon for incomplete item with ternary operator. Use the conditional operator, or you can use ternary operator to render cross if the inspect is true. To render the cross if inspect is not true. Okay, if it's not true, for that what we can do, we can just create an uh, like item list equals to this. We are going to return what if the condition is, we are going to return the thing like is packed. If is packed is true, then we send the tick. Like what we're going to send tick, and if the preferred if the item is not packed, we are going to send the cross. Okay, in the backtick. Oh. Okay, just the thing, and we are going to using it here like items list. It's working. Hey, we are getting error. For this situation, we are going to use this in the backtick and add the dollar sign is packed. If not packed, adding the list item. No, no. Hey, we are just want to add. We are just required to add the items list. Still, it's not working. Copy it, paste it. Yeah, that's what start. I like just typing mistake and it's just worked. Okay, how simple it was. I prefer to walking this in this way. If you prefer in different way, you can try that too. Okay, so let's see the solution. What is the actually what React want to do? Like in React, they just want it's not creating the variable. It just use this in the inside the code branch. Okay, so I prefer to working with this. I like to create the new variable inside there, but at that time the memory is created. So where the time complexity and the space, we are also required to handle or focus on the time complexity and the space complexity. Okay, here this thing is to be having the logic with no space complexity. We are not creating any new variable, but here we are creating the new variable. That may be a reason for the, and that's why we should work. We should work. We should. And for the, we should also work here like this. We can also creating like this. For the small project, for the small rendering, we can create things like this. Okay, for the small rendering, if we have multiple renderings and we have to working with multiple conditions, in that case you can prefer variables and you can prefer and percents or may say and operator for your comfort. So moving forward for the second challenge, show the item important with and percents. Okay, or called and or called AND operator. In this example, each item receives a numerical importance, like which item has numerical importance, or you can say priority list, which item is more prior, which item you are required to give the more prior, like that is in my important and urgent, and that is more important, that's more less important, that's more less important in the case of the thing. So props, okay, we are going to we are receiving the things in the props. Okay, use the %, operator to render the importance of x. X is what? The list of item. Okay, in the italics, but only for only for item that have non-zero importance. Non-zero important, non-zero means like any integer number. Okay, you any whole, any real number, not integer, I think number that's more than one non-zero elements. Okay, more than zero. Okay, your items list should end up looking like this, like space shoot is importance of 9, helmet with golden leaf, we have nothing. Your list should end up uh, but only for the item that have non-zero importance. operator to render the importance x in italic, but only for items that have non-zero importance. Okay, spacesuit important 9, helmet with golden leaf, photo of Tam important 6. Don't forget to add space between the two labels. Okay, actually, what is the data that we are providing? Like non-zero, it's like 0 helmet in the list item. Okay, if the items important is more than 0 or called non-zero items, we require to render the importance list with the italic, with the, it, with the text style with italic, and if the item has in the 0 states, we are not going to show anything for that. Okay, so let's crack this out. How? That's similar. Easier. We are going to importance this if the item is more than that, like for that reason, if the item is 0, we will get the error of 000. For avoiding that, to avoid that, we are using the condition like if the item is greater than 0, if the importance is greater than 0, it's become true, then we are moving forward. All right, I just hit that example that has been discussed earlier, and if the importance is greater than 0, then I'm going to render the italic element of like importance inside the importance I'm using the curly braces and adding the importance, and that's it. And also we are required to add the parenthesis both the end of the things, and that's it. We did it. Yeah. So moving, let's see the solution for this. If we're seeing the solution here, the thing is like it's not using in a single line, it's just cutting out the lines. So we can also do that. Just come here and saying like this. Please move down, and we're sending the every time we're saying like move down, move yourself, and set. That's it. I think this more than enough. I don't think so. I think this depend on your preference where you want to moving forward, or actually I want to write things in a single line. It's making things like how the things is working. And then when the things is become like this kind, like it's becoming it's become confusing for the more bigger projects. There may be new links, or you are required to getting things from tokens, and you are required to adding your tokens. For that scenario, you are required to wrapping your code. That's becoming your for that situation, for that prefer, you can use both the things are similar. Okay, when there is a code, like when the code is working perfect, don't touch that. Okay, when your code is working perfect, don't touch that. That's a meme that I have been read in Quora. So moving forward to the third challenge, that's reflect a series of ternary operator to if and variable. Okay. mm, Reflector a series of ternary to if and variables. Mhm. This string component uses a series of ternary or condition to show different information depend on whether the name prop is true, I like tea or coffee. Okay, the problem is that the information about each drink is spread across multiple conditions. Okay, the problem is that the information about each drink is spread across multiple conditions. Refactor this code to use single if statement instead of three conditions. Okay, we are going to use the single if statement. So let's read out the full program. What is this? What is the main component? A drink list. Okay, this is a drink list, and showing the list for the name drink for the tea and then for the coffee. Okay, before tea and coffee I would like to take a sip of water. Yeah, no, it's okay. A drink. I'm getting hungry. No, don't drink. Only drink is an component. Okay, drink is a component. Okay, drink is a component. It's taking the props name like tea or a coffee. Okay, yes, okay. And it's what's going to returning. It's returning a section with a name t, with a name of heading, with the heading of the name, and all the things are predefined, but we are required to avoid this multi times of actually we are going to using the variable and the condition and creating the a new way to handling this all. And there is dt uh, description title and the description detail. Okay, actually dt is for description title and the description detail, and description title and the description detail and description title. And do this is the same thing or different, like in HTML, dd dt stand stand for what? Please tell me, dear chat. Description list, and that another is a description term. Okay, okay, dl for description list, dt for description term, and dd for description definition. It's not definition term, definition description. Okay, it's the definition term and the definition description. Okay, this tag is used for definition term and the definition description. Okay, like this here, with the output in there, where we use case like frequent asked question में हम use कर रहे होते हैं. We are using the meta data list and the key value pair segment way and glorious other things. Description list and the description writing, and yeah, there is description list. There is one description list and description and definition title and the definition description. Okay, we're required to render this. Or next is a part of the plant, and another thing is description title is changed. Next time my description title is changed. If name is equals to t, the part of plant will be my leaf, not bean. And if the inside the caffeine contain, Next one is caffeine contain. If the caffeine contain is tea, then the caffeine content will be the 15 to 70 mg and all the things. And if the name is tea, then things like this and like this. Okay, we require to create the things with a single variable and all the things. Mm, mm, mm. What we can do, like we can create a variable, and in that variable we're going to store all the description, definition, definition title and the description detail. Mm, what will be the best practice? The best practice is to use the uh, object to store all the information about both the things, and basically we are required to use the if statement here. If t, and all the this item will be showing it here, otherwise that. Okay. Mm, 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 mm. Let mm, okay, items data will be my empty array. What I'm creating, just I'm creating the array of first part of plant, capping content, and each. Inside the array I'm going to add things like object for both. Hey, I'm just trying to touching the hot plate. Really, what we can do here? Should I use the hard coded data or just using anything else? Shit, light is gone. For this, what I can do, I can create an object one and storing the data for tea. One of the object create the storing the data of coffee. There will be a situation like part of plant, and I don't want to use this. Or I can use anything else. Uh, mm, mm. How many slides? So if we think about this, we can create a variable we require to create three variables. We require to create three variables. Let part of plant if name equals to a. Then part of plant be if name equals to t, then the let part of plant equals to null. Then another way will be the caffeine content caffeine content, and another will be by age. Okay. Okay, and I want to add the condition here. Name equals to e, then part of plant equals to leaf, and caffeine content equals to the drink component use a series of this condition to show different information depend on the whether the name, property or coffee. The problem is that the information about each drink is spread across multiple condition reflector this code to use single if statement instead of three. Okay, that's simple. Single if statement. For the predefined, I'm going to leave 15 to 70 mg per cup and 4000 plus years. 4000 plus years. Okay, if the condition is not T, condition is not T, then the part of plant bean and 80 to 185 mg per cup and the 1000 here, and the age will be 1000 plus years. Okay, and that's it. And want to use this at the place of here, like capping content. What I did. I just control shift delete. Just control and delete. And want to this capping content, it's repeat, and at the end here control delete. Want to add the age, and that's working, I think, for the tea and the coffee. And if I untake this, that's work for both things. But the thing is, like, do this is best practice or not? Thing is like that, do this is a best practice or not? To clarify this, over once you have refactored the code to use if, do you have further ideas how to simplify it? Okay, to simplifying this, the best way to use it like this only, and and basically both the data are required to use at once, and storing the both the data to the variable is required, or it's help us to. So let's see the solution first. In the solution, the things are same. If the condition is like, but this is more confusing, I think. They created three variables. I also created three variables. It's mean that the n equals to 1. The space complexity will be the same. Okay, and for the conditional, it's taking condition for twice, it's taking the condition for two times. It's mean that it's taking the condition for two times. It's mean that it's become hectic for them, like required to changing things for one. Okay, there are multiple ways you could go about this, but here is the one starting point. Okay, like the multiple things, like they create. Okay, what I want to create, what I really want to create. First, we creating the object for this with the tea and the coffee, and render all the things. Const info equals to drink dot name, info equals to dictionary. At the time, the all the name of this this will be stored there inside there, and all the things we can create from the part caption each. This is more easier way that I really want to use this one, but I was getting confusing. Like I required to use the uh, backtick here. Oh, that also worked, but I was getting confusing that time. So we have just touched this too. So this and there is no more challenge. We have just solved all three challenges. In next lecture, we are going to start with rendering list. In this, we are going to using filter and the map. So before you start, you require to having knowledge of these two methods of JavaScript, and then we moving to using these amazing things. So see you, and I'm going to signing out. So see you guys. Thank you for today.